Friday. Friday news day. I never thought I would be so excited to be sitting here in the dark, cloudy moroseness of February. Do you know why it's good? Because it's almost spring. So my 10-year-old with autism this morning was saying, what season is it? I said, well, you tell me what season it is. He said, it's winter. I said, that's right, it's winter. He said, what comes next? I said, spring. And then he said, and then what comes next? I said, what do you think? He said, winter. I was like, no, summer. Whew, I like winter if it snows. If there's no snow, I'm done. Not that anybody matters to me. It's Friday. I know, isn't that exciting? Oh, it's the dog eating. I was like, what's that sound? So I usually get up in the morning. Well, I haul people to school, but I usually do a subscriber coffee chat. We have a little coffee. We talk about plans for the weekend. We kind of shoot the you-know-what. But this morning I was like, I'm going to do a big video so they can get a little taste of what a coffee chat is like. So I thought it might be fun to go through some news stories happening. Now, I will say, if you are easily triggered, this is not a good spot for you because I don't care. So yesterday, and this is not political, so if politics get you in your panties in a wad, you just got to move away. Yesterday, evidently Biden was being like sued over something, which is, I'm sure, ridiculous. I don't know anything about it, honestly. But the Department of Justice issued this statement. It's not funny, but it's funny. Special counsel Robert Hur. So they had had this assessment that he had taken these documents, and they were like, I don't think he did it on purpose. So what the special counsel said is he called Biden, quote, a sympathetic, well-meaning, elderly man with a poor memory. Well-meaning, elderly man with a poor memory. That did not go over well. So he was saying, no jury is going to convict this guy. Basically, it's like my dad up there. Well, I think they realized this could be catastrophic for the presidential election. When the Department of Justice says it about you, I mean, that ain't Donald Trump saying it about you. Anyway. I don't know why that tickles me, but it just tickles me. So he said he had this, he had a conference and he said, I'm well-meaning and I'm an elderly man and I know what the hell I'm doing. I've been president. I put this country back on its feet. I don't need his recommendation. And he's trying to sound really strong, but it's not very convincing. No place for special counsel to editorialize in the report. Her is also a Republican. Well, see, that's the thing. I didn't even know her was a Republican. So, see, I don't think let's say he was a Democrat. Then would it be okay? What I find is interesting is that people really struggle to have a conversation when it is about the party they identify with. So if they are Democrats, you ain't saying nothing bad about nobody, right? And if they're Republican, they have to pretend to love Trump. I feel like I'm in a normal way of thinking. And my husband is too. We talk about politics. You should be able to point out things, and it shouldn't matter what politics are yours or theirs, right? Why is that such a struggle? It's like people take it personally. I mean, I think most people would agree Biden does seem a little old, and I'm not sure about his memory either. And it's not offensive. When you get older, that happens. And there are people in my family that, do I think they're brilliant and smart and amazing? Yes. Do I think running a country might require something different? Also, yes. He was exonerated. So, Cynthia, I guess for me, I totally agree he should have been exonerated. I have no problem with that. I think where I sit this morning is, do I think Joe Biden is the best person to run our country? No. Do I think President Trump or Trump is the best person? No. So I don't think either one of them are good. But nobody really wants to talk about that, and I don't get it. He was exonerated. Yes, Cynthia, we're not talking about being exonerated. Or what I'm talking about is it accurate? Is he... anyway. I would think that past about 70, you just slow down, you know? I mean, I just spent 4 days with my parents, who were delightful and lovely, in mid to late 70s. And I will tell you, people are not like this anymore, which is fine. And it's normal, you know? Like, as you get older, your brain should slow down. So it's nothing bad. You know, we have a law that you have to be, 30? Do you have to be 35 or 25 to be president? Isn't it 35? Which is interesting that is the law. But then if we talk about somebody being too old, we're like, no, I don't like that. Well, why? Why can't we just talk about it? It's okay. Just have a little chitty chat. It makes people uncomfortable. It makes people uncomfortable. 35. Thank you, Sherry. So I do think this age limit thing is an interesting thing to discuss. Because again, we have an age minimum requirement. So if anybody can tell me how that makes sense, I'd like to hear it. It's people around them that run the country. Oh. Well, maybe I don't like that. Well, that doesn't have to do with the age minimum. Well, I just am not thrilled. I don't ever remember an election. Well, that's not true. There have been a couple. But I remember being in high school and going to see Bill Clinton or going to see George Bush, you know, and you were kind of like thinking like, okay, I never felt like, let's say Bush and Clinton, and I was young, but I never felt like either one of them was like really not going to be good, you know? Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. Here in Canada, we're concerned about I know the Canadians are really worried. They're really worried. So this is new. We don't have to agree to discuss. That's right. So Tucker Carlson, who like fell off the earth, just interviewed Putin. How about that? Did you know that? A 2-hour interview that was released yesterday. Has anybody watched it? I would watch it. And how do you feel about Tucker Carlson sitting down with Putin? I'm not sure. He need to step aside. You watched it? I heard no proof that Michelle Obama would drop her hat in the ring. Yeah, I don't think that's true. I think at this point we're done. He did ask, Putin did not say anything terrible, but Evan Gershwich is the American journalist that's in jail. And the United States says, well, he's being wrongly detained. And Putin said, well, the United States is going to have to make a deal for him. And here's what he said. We want the U.S. Special Services to think about how they can contribute to achieving the goals our special services are pursuing. We are ready to talk. Moreover, the talks are underway. Gershwitz ain't any spy. I can tell you that right now. He is no spy. He's a journalist. Journalism is not a crime. And he has been in jail for over a year. You kind of, for the Wall Street Journal, Tucker Carlson scares me. Not sure why it should be an issue. You can interview anyone. Yeah, you can. You can interview anyone. I tell you who would not interview Putin? Me. Not that it's on the list, but I've said enough bad things about him that I think he would give me an injection of cyanide in my tush. The same reason Adrian ain't never going over to North Korea. They got Kim Jong on my forehead. Yep, it ain't happening. I think Putin is terrible. I realize some of you might love him, but I think he's a horrible, horrible, awful person. And I think when you wonder, wow, people don't, I think we all figured out that these giant ships are because they're just taking all the money. I learned a lot about Russia with the Ukraine thing. Barbara Walters has interviewed him. I don't know Barbara Walters' politics. Maybe that's it. I think maybe I like an interviewer that I don't really know where they stand. I think when Tucker Carlson burned me up is when he effectively kind of got canceled because he was talking and didn't know he was being recorded, and he was talking about how ridiculous some of the guests were on, And so kind of making fun of himself and the rhetoric that he was espousing and admitting that he didn't agree with it. I would never come on and say something that I didn't agree with. That to me is gross. At least own it, what you think, How do you have a rational discussion when half of the media in the U.S. is deliberately censoring what is happening? Censoring what? Well, I don't know if I'm actual media, but I will tell you I wouldn't censor. I think sometimes people just don't know what's happening. How do you keep up with everything, I'm writing a book, got people taken to school. You get kind of busy. I think sometimes when you giving Putin a platform, here's what I would say. And I totally agree with you. I'm thrilled that somebody can talk to him. I think giving him a platform when he literally is a murderer is dangerous, And you think about what's happened in Ukraine, and they're bombing residential buildings and killing citizens, and then he gets to stand up there and lie, I don't love that. Not that you care. Let's see what else. What else is happening? I had a few notes. So people never watch the news. Well, they might be smart. Taylor Swift is coming on Sunday. People are very in a stir over Taylor Swift. I don't care. Even my dad was talking about it. Taylor Swift. Good for Taylor Swift. Now this is funny about Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift just sold one of her jets, and she is pissed that this college student during COVID started tracking all the jets so he could tell you Elon Musk is in Fort Lauderdale this morning heading to New York. Well, Taylor Swift, the same thing. So Elon Musk offered to just pay the guy, like, I'll give you 50,000, leave me alone. And the guy was like, no. So this is public information. Now, I am a huge fan of non-censorship. If information is public and I share it, now I have this happen, okay? So somebody will put a post up on Facebook and it might be something terrible. And I hadn't done this in a while, but in the past I have shared their post, right? It has their name attached to it. It's from their Facebook page. Well, then they get hate because it's terrible. Well, then they reach out to me and say, one woman said literally, I just walked outside and someone egged my house. No, I even blocked out her name, like her first name. So within 15 minutes, she claimed that somebody at 10:15 at night came by and egged her house. That is a lie. But anyway, it's public information. I mean, what are you going to do about it? Sometimes people will be like, you gave somebody your address? Well, hello. Hey, I'm Google. Nice to see you. You cannot keep people from finding out your address, or at least I don't think I can. So whenever people tell me that, I'm like, well, I can tell you your address right now. Do you want me to read it out loud? So Taylor Swift's group let me find it. They send a cease and desist letter to the college student who's tracking the planes. I think that is a bad idea. It is public information. No matter what, they cannot keep him from sharing public information because we're Americans. Hold on. Cease and desist. Taylor Swift. Let me look it up. Jack Sweeney. That's who it is. He's a UCF student. Jack Sweeney. So he got the cease and desist letter in December. And it said it was, quote, to pursue any and all legal remedies if he doesn't stop his stalking and harassing behavior. The letter was sent by her legal team because they said he has no legitimate interest in sharing private jet tracking information. Well, he came back and said, well, that's fundamentally incorrect because I like her songs. He said, her fans who have grown the Taylor Swift Jets accounts and subreddit are the ones truly interested. These tracking accounts consistently have more supporters and fans. When the Embassy of Japan in the USA expresses confidence that Taylor can make a flight from Tokyo to the Super Bowl, it indicates public interest. I mean, damn if he's not right. Japan is saying she can get to the Super Bowl. I mean, people are paying attention to her. Therefore, one should reasonably expect that their jet will be tracked, whether or not I'm the one doing it, as it is public information after all. Yeah. So you might say, well, how does he do it? So he doesn't use tracking data. He takes unencrypted signals from the planes, which are mandated, and then looks at them. They collect all these unencrypted signals and it gives you a path. It's tacky and he's targeting her. I don't think so. Here's what I think. I think Taylor Swift doesn't like it because she doesn't want anybody telling her that she's messing up the earth with all this flying. That's what I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Swift's team. Okay. Last week, Fox News shared this. Swift's 40-minute, 164-mile trip from New Jersey to Baltimore cost $1,328 and produced 3 tons of CO2 emissions. In the 3 months, the jet has created 138 tons of emissions. That is what she does not want coming out. Mm-hmm. She said oftentimes that her jet is loaned out. I would just like to say, I don't have a friend that loans out jets. I would like one. I will take responsibility for the emissions. Yeah, yeah. Now they're lacedly saying, well, we only own one jet. Well, they just sold the other jet like 2 weeks ago. Sweeney said this. He said, if they're really interested about privacy and safety, why don't they register the jet to an LLC or to a trust instead of her business? Honor, shush. Oh, yeah, it's funny. Elvis Presley used to rent the whole top floor of Holiday Inn. Now that is some good info to have. Elvis Presley. But I will say that she sent these threats to Facebook and Instagram in threads, and damn if they didn't suspend his accounts, Taylor Swift jets. Which tells you a lot about social media these days, right? They're scared they're going to get in trouble. So they suspend his accounts. He said the accounts got suspended only hours after I received the letter from her team. So that means she also sent threats to Meta. Oh, yeah, this is what it was. Sweeney tracks Musk jet too, but he only does it 24 hours after he's reported to be in the air because they had a fight in 2022. So the Tesla owner sent him a DM and offered him $5,000. I thought it was $50 to stop tracking his jet. Sweeney turned it down, but ultimately decided to comply with the app's change in policy, which required the delay of information. Oh, yelly. Yes, can you imagine how many flights are landing in Las Vegas? Travoltas go over my house constantly. I mean, this might be why people don't read the news. What else? Oh, this is funny. So, have you ever been, this is the last thing. Do you ever go to the airport and you go to get a snack or a book or whatever in the bookshop? And bottles of water are like $5. Well, there's a social media post that's gone viral that people are undone over the price gouging at the airport because of the price of Chex Mix. Now, the way I figure it is you go to the airport, but it was genius. You go to the airport. Well, the food has to get in there. It has to go through security. The people have to come in there and work. They got to pay people a lot of money. If it's hard to get people to work at a local gas station, do you know how hard it would be to get them to go to the airport? You have to drive out there. You have to find a place to park. You have to go in. You have to go through security. You have to go, I mean, it's a huge pain in the butt. Right? Anyway, Kylie Brakeman, though, was smart. She shared this list on all these, like, the price of snacks. Ted Cruz. Oh, my God, I would love to have Ted Cruz's. And she said, how much does Chex Mix cost at every airport? So she started paying attention. $9.99 at LaGuardia, $5.99 in Indianapolis, $4.76 at Dallas. And then she said, somebody said, we have failed as a society. If you don't like it, don't buy it. Yeah, I don't. There was a professor at NYU, and he said, you know, there's a captive audience at the airport, and the retailers are going to do that. Just like if you go to the fair, you know, you might pay a lot for a hot dog. Unless there's a bunch of people selling hot dogs. Anyway. The airport is the only place that I buy a very expensive magazine and feel no guilt about it. You know, you feel like you're on vacation. It's fun. There's generally people just like to complain. I wonder if rent is high at the airport. Yeah, can you imagine how high the rent is at the airport? I didn't think about that. Rent's high. You don't buy bottled water. Well, I try not to. I try to wait till I get on the plane and get free water. That's what I do. Airport prices don't bother me. Yeah, it just feels like the beginning of the vacation. I remember my dad saying when we were little going to New York City and Cokes were $5. And he was like, if you're going to go to New York City, you might as well just expect to hand out $100 and $5 bills. I mean, all the tipping. And he said, and if not, then don't go. And I kind of think that's a good idea. Don't go, but don't complain. Like, you know what that's going to cost. Ted Cruz wants to pass a bill giving members of Congress special treatment through airports. Isn't Ted Cruz the one that said he flew his wife down to the Caribbean and in the middle of an ice storm when he told all the other people to stay put in their houses? Ted Cruz. Thank goodness he's not running for president. A lot of opinions. He wants to cross the border whenever he wants. Pack snacks. Yeah, I flew yesterday. Yeah, right now I was on the airplane. Happy as a pig in slop. One thing I do at the airport, and this is it saves a lot of money. We have an American Airlines credit card. So I guess we get to go, I don't know, maybe it's $250 a year and you can go in the American Airlines Club. And we fly pretty much. So with that, you get free luggage. You don't have to pay for your luggage. Well, let me tell you what. If you fly anywhere and you have 6 people and 5 suitcases and you make it back, and 2, in those American Airline clubs, you can go eat a full meal. So what we discovered with the kids, like yesterday I went in there and I had a bagel with cream cheese and salmon and another cup of coffee. And did I have anything else? Oh, and some pineapple. Well, then I didn't have to eat till dinner. You know, that would have been a $15 meal in the airport. So you might think like, oh, it's kind of fancy or ritzy, but it will save you money. I wish I had the money to fly anywhere. Well, Melanie, I was looking this morning. I love to look at cheap tickets. So if you go in your Google search and you do like RDU to Miami flight, I saw a round trip ticket for $38 to Miami from Raleigh, which is pretty reasonable. Oh, don't take a suitcase or a shoe. No, I'm just kidding. It's pretty reasonable. So if you want to just fly somewhere, you can find some cheap places to fly. You have 5 kids. The cheapest ticket I don't think I'd take all of them. The cheapest ticket I've ever bought was $18 round trip to Miami. That was cheaper than the gas to get to the airport. You know? $18 round trip. True story. Okay, subscribers, coffee chat. It's already 9:20. I'm finishing up chapter 6 today. Goodbye. Have a good weekend.